Blessing. Shalom. Hello, fam. I know it's been a minute. Sorry if I'm a little rusty. I'm just going to come on here and do this word. It's a warning word. And I'm just going to get straight into it, okay? Don't mind me if I'm a little rusty. It's been a while since I've done videos. Never really liked doing them, but we have to be obedient and do what the Father asks of us. So the dream that I had last night was a tornado. And the tornado, the Father allowed me to feel the effects of the dream of the tornado, and it produced great terror, and it shook me to my core. So sitting with the Father this morning, wanted me to break down some things, and I have a couple Bible verses to go with it. So I'm just going to start with it, okay? So in order to produce a tornado, there is actually 3 ingredients that begin with a thunderstorm. And the 3 ingredients is moisture, instability, and lifting. Okay, so I'm just going to I'm going to read the notes that I have here. So don't mind me if I'm looking down. So moisture in the biblical term can symbolize spiritual dryness, judgment, and hardship. Instability, the quality or state of being unstable, lack of stability or firmness, the tendency to behave in an unpredictable, changeable, or erratic manner, emotional instability. And then lifting. In the Bible, lifting often signifies physical or metaphorical raising, elevation, or exalting. It can refer to raising hands in prayer, lifting a burden, or being lifted up by God in times of difficulty. And we all know what tornadoes can produce is very damaging. And from the thunderstorm it can produce, it's called the supercell. So supercells form when air becomes very unstable. The winds speed up, the direction are different from a different altitude. The condition is called wind shear. Wind shear is common in the formation of most thunderstorms. When wind at ground level is blowing one direction, the wind higher up in the atmosphere has a different speed or direction. It can cause horizontal tube of air to form. Tornadoes can produce winds up to 300 miles per hour at the surface, making them dangerous to people and property. As the tornado moves along the ground, its strong winds begin to pick up debris. Flying debris is usually what's caused the most damage in the storm. And this gave me scripture of the solid rock foundation. This is what God was referring to. So I felt led to read verses from Matthew 7:21 to 27, the Amplified Version, along with James 1:22 to 25, and I'm going to read it. The Matthew is from the Amplified Version. I'm going to read it. Not everyone says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter into the kingdom of heaven, but only he who does the will of my Father. This is meaning that we must do things his way and not our own, following in his instructions, in obedience to him, following him and not man. And then I'm going to continue, verse 22. Many will say to me on that day when I judge them, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in your name, and driven out demons in your name, and done many miracles in your name? And then I will declare to them publicly, I never knew you. Depart from me. You are banished from my presence, you who act wickedly, disregarding my commands. Meaning again, we must obey what the Father asks of us, and doing his will, his way, and not going ahead of him or doing our own thing. And this is very important. Now the two foundations, verse 24. So everyone who hears these words of mine and acts on them, meaning hear of the word and walking in it. And this comes from James 1:22 to 25, and it says, but be doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving yourselves. For if anyone is a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like a man observing his natural face in the mirror. For he observes himself, goes away, and immediately forgets what kind of man he was. But he who looks into the perfect law of liberty and continues in it, it is not forgetful hearer, but a doer of the work. This is one will be blessed in what he does. Now continuing in Matthew chapter 7. So everyone who hears these words of mine and acts on them will be like a wise man, a far-sighted, practical, and sensible man who builds his house on a rock. And the rain fell, and the flood and torrents came, and the winds blew, slamming against that house like a tornado if you actually think about it. And yet it did not fall, because it had been founded on a rock. And everyone who hears these words of mine and does not do them will be like a foolish man who builds his house on sand. And the rain fell, and the floods and torrents came, and the winds blew and slammed against that house, and it fell, and great and complete was the fall. So again, the Father is saying, now is the time to get your heart right. Now, and that we need to be in that ark with Yahuwah, and to stay close before destruction and chaos strikes. What is happening now are just the birth pains. It is going to get a lot worse. And we need to have that solid rock foundation, that we will not be moved or shaken for what is coming upon this earth, as things have already begun slowly happening. The intensity will increase greatly as the days, months, and years go by. Now is the time to get your house in order. We must be covered, we will be covered according to Psalms 91. So again, we must do his will, follow his instructions, obeying him, and doing what he asks of us. We do not want to be going on our own accord, because then we will not be protected. We have to go by his obedience. Now is the time to practice it. How can you say to yourself and be like, I'm following God, but you're not hearing him correctly? And if you end up going somewhere or going into a territory, going into a territory that he never asked you, you will not be protected. And I've said this many, many times on my channel. You must follow his instructions. Do not go ahead of him. Obey him. This is all what it's about. Yes, God gives us grace. We are able to do the things that we must do in our lives. He's there for us. But again, I'm telling you, following his instructions and his commands are very, very important. That is doing his will. And that's all I got for this word. I hope this speaks to you. Now is the time to get your house in order. Things can happen tomorrow. It can be just in a blink of an eye. And were you ready? God does not want us to be terrified and be terror, because those who do not believe and do not seek him, do not follow his ways, will feel the effects of it. And it was so terrifying, the way that I felt inside. I've never felt like that ever in my life. I can't even explain it, how bad it was. So I hope this word blesses you. Again, this is a warning word. If God leads me accordingly, I will be back again. And I hope you guys have a blessed day. Bye for now. Shalom.